So, I recently finished reading this book, Dopamine Nation, by Dr. Anna Lemke. Dr. Anna talks about dopamine and its role in addiction in this book. However, I do feel there are so many things that we can learn and apply to our daily lives from this book. Let's start with learning about dopamine. As we all have heard, dopamine is the molecule of motivation and it also plays a role in addiction. Dopamine is the molecule that makes us do things. However, too much of dopamine from pleasurable activities from our daily life can cause a lot of pain and sadness. Let's see how. Dr. Anna Lamke talks about a thing called, or a mechanism called pain pleasure balance. Imagine a seesaw where one tip is pain and one tip is pleasure. Our brain always wants to maintain a balance between this pain and pleasure. And the way it does this is that the more pleasurable activities we indulge in, our brain tries to put more pressure on the side of the pain so it can create balance. For example, if you have an activity that you do daily that brings pleasure, such as, and a simple activity is drinking coffee. If you drink 1 cup of coffee every day and it brings you pleasure, soon there will be a time when that 1 cup will not be enough and you will have this need of one more. And that's how people usually go from 1 to 2 and 2 to 3 cups, even if they know it can make them a bit jittery, anxious, can hurt sleep. And this happens because our brain now is putting too much pressure on the pain side. So we stop feeling as much pleasure from the activity and we need more of it to feel the same effect. Now, when I say too much pressure on the pain side, I'm not going into the scientific details that Dr. Anna does talk about in the book on how it happens. And this mechanism would explain how, if we go through something that's very enjoyable and pleasurable, soon we are bound to feel a little bit more sad than before. For example, if you go to a vacation and you come back after a week to your normal life is going to feel even or a bit more boring or less pleasurable than before, and you might even feel sad. And that happens because you have gone through a high pleasurable activity and now your brain will try to create that balance by stopping enough neurotransmitter production so you can feel through that pain a bit. Now, what we can do so our brain always stays in balance and we do not have those high pleasurable moods and very low depressed moods. One solution for this is to make sure that our daily life choices are such so they create a balance rather than pushing us into one side. For example, after watching one episode of your favorite Netflix, rather than going binge watching the whole thing, stop at that place and then go to bed early. Now that is not actually painful, but it is perceived painful because you are making sacrifice in the short term. And that short term sacrifice induced pain can help you feel even better after, and then it also creates a lot of long term benefits. Now, that short term sacrifice comes with a little bit of pain now, but helps you feel better tomorrow and also has long term benefits as you choose something that benefits you long term, such as sleep over binge watching Netflix. So, what I learned from this is that we should be mindful of our daily activities, and rather than chasing pleasure all the time, we should have moderation in our lives and keep a balance of pain versus pleasure. And by pain, it means choosing short term painful activities that gives us long term benefits, such as not buying that thing that you think you want or need but you don't actually need just because you have money, and not overspending, not overeating, and not over scrolling. I hope that helps, and if you need to learn more about addictions, I recommend you read this book. hope that helps. And if you need to learn more about dopamine addictions and the dopamine fasting strategy that Dr. Anna Lemke mentions, I suggest you read this book. Thanks.